Virginia and Maryland will be able to get this. Is any rules, any plan to exempt them because they don't pay taxes and they use up our resources? So they come across the bridge and, you know, if they get sick, they use our ambulance, our fire department. We have no commuter tax. So that state benefits from the income they receive from us. So does anybody thinking that way, that the balance?
I would like to have a answer to that question, but I don't know the exact policy around it. But they are considered, that is one of the questions that's come up. The bill went out, and so the council is working on like doing a draft of the bill and reworking parts of it. So that was one of the considerations that was in the bill, but I haven't seen the new draft yet. And so hopefully I'll see it tomorrow. They said that it should happen before the 11th.
Will it be posted on the website?
I hope so.
Different issue, but it's information.
I hope so. But yeah, check back to the website, and I can give you my contact information as well as soon as I get it. All right, cool. Thank you guys. And pick up some information and share your story and share it around. I feel like a lot of the on the ground word hasn't really populated as much. Cool.
Thank you very much. All right, so next up on the agenda, we are on time. Is anybody else excited about that?
Yes!
I know I am. All right, so we had a total of 5 action items tonight regarding BZA cases. The first 2 from Commissioner Shropshire were just removed from the agenda, so Commissioner, would you like to address that at all?
We have 2 BZA cases that are on Holbrook Terrace, and we've actually had 2 meetings with the community, and they were gonna come tonight, but there's still several unresolved issues with the community and the proposed plans that they have. So they actually recommended that they would postpone their BZA hearing out until the middle of March so that they can have more opportunities to work with the community to help come up with something that would be amenable to the community. So they will most likely be requesting to be on the March agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. So with that, we're going to skip to number 10 on your agenda. That's the first one on the back of your agenda. This is BZA case number 19203 for 1844 Kendall Street. And just as a quick timing piece, again, because there is so much, as you can see on the agenda that we adopted, we are going to have 3 minutes of presentation from each applicant, 5 minutes of discussion, starting with commissioners, and then with any time left, we'll take questions from the audience, and then we'll leave ourselves 2 minutes for a vote. Again, if any commissioners would like to extend that time, you're welcome to make that motion, and we will vote accordingly. So with that, I'd like to call on Commissioner Lewis for your Kendall Street project. Sorry, so for 1844 Kendall Street, your applicant has 3 minutes.
Okay. Should I give the community's feedback before they begin, or you want me to wait for it?
That's up to you. That's fine.
Okay, the community actually wholeheartedly supports the process.
Good evening, all. This is 1844 Kendall Street. I'll hold it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Karen, don't tweet that smile. So this is 1844 Kendall Street, right on the corner of the alley and Kendall Street, directly across from the apartment building over there by the alley. And what we're proposing is that it's currently an existing single-family dwelling, and we're proposing to do an upper-level addition to convert it into 3 units, 3 condominiums for sale. And the reason why we're here is because there are variances involved. So we have an application at the BZA to approve this project for both a special exception, which is required for this conversion, and also 2 variances for the side yards. Now, what it is that the existing building is about 3 feet from the property line. So the new buildings next to it were actually placed on the property line, creating a very narrow space between the 2 buildings. So we have to apply for we have to get a variance to allow the owner to do this addition either along the property line or based on exactly the 3 feet offset from the property line. So I hope that's very clear. It's a simple project. It's about the same height as the apartment building and about the same roof line as the building next door, the 4-unit condominiums next door. So it pretty much fits into the street and blends in very well into the community. We also have provided 2 off-street parking spaces in the rear of the alley and possibility of 1 space in the front. So that's, I wanna just keep it short and simple.
What materials are you proposing to use?
Well, the existing foundation is masonry and concrete, and the addition is gonna be wood framed with brick veneer.
Alright, and so with that, if you're done with your presentation, we're gonna move into 5 minutes of discussion.
Yes, sir.
So commissioners, if you would like the floor, you have 5 minutes for any questions or
I
discussion.
think I should go first.
Yes, ma'am.
We asked many questions when they presented to us, and one of the big concern was that it stayed within the landscape of the community, and their building will be attached, and attached homes are quite prevalent in Ivy City, so it won't take away from the streetscape at all. The current property actually looks out of place versus fitting in with the community, and it being renovated, it's an alleyway, but people hang out there. So them renovating the project will actually add amenity and deter crime.
Any other commissioners have
Yeah, I have.
questions? Commissioner Henderson?
So, let me just make sure I'm clear. Your community, you all discussed, I guess at length, about disrupting or not disrupting the streetscape,
Correct.
and you feel that everyone feels that it's in line with the streetscape.
Yes, we agree.
Okay.
The big concern, and it's always my concern, is about the rate that the condos are going to go for when it's on the market. They are not aware of what that is as yet, we were told. But other than that, we're comfortable with the project.
And what's the height of the project?
It's generally the front is 30 feet, and the roof line is the highest ceiling. It's about 35 feet.
Commissioner Lee?
So I'm looking at your diagram there. Is B, and A, are those units?
Yes.
So that's the 3 units. So is the A in the front or the back?
No, this is a vertical diagram. What it really is the lower 2 levels are 1 unit, the cellar and the first floor, and then the 2 upper levels share the other
Okay.
2 units.
So there's going to be a cellar unit.
Well, yeah, the basement is going to be part of the unit.
And that design is actually across the street, that was built by another developer in the community. So their design is not out of sync with the neighborhood at all.
Okay.
Commissioners, any other questions? We've got 2 minutes left. Any questions from the public?
I have a question. Are there currently residents that are on each of the sides, and what were their perspectives? Were they?
No, there's a condominium building, 4-unit building next door, and then on the other side is an alley and an apartment building. So yeah, one of the owners here is really very, very happy and excited about the project.
She actually contacted me before they contacted me, and she's like, okay, I see the permits, what's going on, I'm excited.
Is she willing to give a letter of support, or has she done so?
I can contact her about that.
Thank you.
Back to you. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Oh, what are your variances that you're asking?
Side yard,
So it could be
it's
attached
2
to the
side, yeah,
building.
so it could be, yeah. It's really a side yard variance. The special exception is because this is a conversion from single family to condominium.
But you're not asking for a curb cut or anything?
No, there's already a cut there. There's a
Okay.
driveway in front.
Yes.
So we'll
There's
have a
an existing
driveway.
driveway, yes.
So the big deal is for it to be able to be, for them to be on their property line. So it can be attached to the building that's next to it versus having a very small space where animals or people can hide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, Commissioner Lewis, I think the floor is yours. If you'd like to put forward a motion.
I put forward the motion for the commission to support my residents and myself on, allowing the variance for 1844 Kendall Street Northeast.
Second.
So with that, the motion has been moved and properly seconded to support this applicant in their various variance requests. If there is no further discussion, all for, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, please say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Next up,
I have a question. Commissioner Lewis, it looks like there's two parts of this, like one is the variance and then another is a special exception, correct? I'm just wondering, do we need to vote on both of them or did we?
I think it's all about how the letter's written. You know, because the variance is to allow it to be on the property line and then to allow them to convert from a single family to a three-story. So I think it's all about how the letter's written.
all right, next up, we have BZA case 19231, 1814 Central Place with Commissioner Lewis.
I will be in contact about your letter.
And again, we will give you 3 minutes to present. So we can give you 6 minutes and do it all. So just to fill everyone in, both the applicant is the same, these are just two different properties, so we are gonna combine their presentation and double their amount of time, so we will have 6 minutes of presentation, up to 10 minutes of discussion, and then up to 4 minutes of voting. And so with that, your 6 minutes, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, commissioners and the community, for allowing us to present today. My name is Orlando Velez. I'm with Habitat for Humanity, Washington, D.C. Today we have our architect, Nick Washingtonkowski from Soilbird Architects, and then Susan Slater, our president and CEO of Habitat for Humanity, Washington, D.C., as well as an attorney that's working with us, Jessica from Holland. Today we're talking about Habitat for Humanity. We've been developing in Ivy City in Commissioner Pettigay's SMD since 2011. We've developed 28 homeownership opportunities for moderate to low income families for their purchase. We're not a rental organization. We only sell affordable homeownership, affordable properties. Today we're talking about, I'm going to go a little quick here, but in the packets, you can look at our organization on page 3 and page 2. It talks a little bit about our program requirements, and then also where we build in our, if you want to contact us directly. But I'll go straight into our ask. We're actually asking for 2 variances on page 6. We are working with Level 2, which is a developer who's developing a PUD, a planned urban development on Florida Avenue, where the Burger King is at right now. And as part of IZ, inclusionary zoning, what you heard earlier today, a developer, they're developing so many more units at market rate, is supposed to have affordable or inclusionary zoning for 50 or 80% of the area median income. Level 2 is developing rental units at 600 square feet. Our agreement with Level 2 is that we're going to be developing off-site inclusionary zoning units that are going to be 1,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, for sale in the same single-member districts where these 4 market rate units are going to be at. So we're here today with our 2 properties that we're looking at on Central Place, adjacent to the properties where we're developing and across the street where we have developed already. We're looking at 1814 and 1833 Central Place Northeast, next to the church, Trinity Baptist Church, and also across the street. There's our lot where we've developed 3 townhomes, and then adjacent to that, there's another lot, 1814. So the 2 variances, one we're asking for variances for lot width requirements, going from 18 to 15. This is a little bit smaller, but it is still 1,300 square foot homes that we're developing. So they're still going to be much larger than what's offered, and much larger than what we've developed in the past, as a matter of fact. And then we're also asking for a variance on parking. Recently in January, the zoning regulations review were passed. They're going to effect in September of this year. The new zoning requirements for parking state that for every flat or for every unit that you don't have access to a public alley with a 10-foot width, you do not have to provide parking. So we're asking for an advance on that, what's going to go into effect in September. So Nick here is going to present a little bit about our design.
50%.
Right.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
important. Right.
The key thing here too is that these are not just, they're affordable, and affordable is based on 50% of the area median income. So the very last page of the packets is actually price schedule, and it's based on DHCD, Department of Housing and Community Development. So they're the ones that regulate the inclusionary zoning prices. So based on a family of 4, we have to sell, in a 3-bedroom units, they would be going for $206,000. And that's based, that would be affordable to a family earning $55,000 a year.
Thank you, Orlando. Really briefly, the homes are very efficient, very compact, but provide bedrooms that are very livable and very spacious and sort of open contemporary living environment. So it's not, in no way does it speak affordable. It actually speaks like a market rate sort of development, but it's great that it's going to be reserved for families that you know, have much more modest means. To sort of orient everybody, there are 2 units in each half of this plan, and the units are stacked with 1 full unit across the first floor and including the back half of the second floor, and then the second unit starts in the front half of the second floor and moves and includes the entire third floor. So it's sort of a, you know, almost a Tetris piece where you end up with a sort of a 1.5-story unit for each dwelling unit. As Orlando mentioned, 3 beds, 2 baths, very generous kitchen, dining, and family space. A lot of windows, access from the rear into the rear site. The yards are about 40 feet deep in the rear after this building is built, so before they get to the property line, more than double what is normally a setback in this district. And then a generous front yard as well, leading to Central Place on both sides of the street.
If you find the drawings difficult to see from the back, it's page 13 of the packet.
Right. And then sort of visually, to give everybody an understanding of what these will look like, in 1814, where we have 4 modules together, you end up with an aesthetic that sort of marches along like this. The materials are still very much in play, but they will be resilient materials, cementitious siding, brick, good quality 30-year asphalt shingles, metal, and then also dealing with what Habitat has been envisioning, a lot more green elements, so solar shading, energy efficient appliances, and low flow fixtures. And then over at 1833, where there's just 2 units side by side, you can just sort of see how that marries to the existing townhomes that Habitat has already built.
All right, and with that, we're going to move into, we'll have 10 minutes for discussion, and this is Commissioner Lewis's motion, so she has first dibs on the floor.
Okay, this project, as he said, it's in conjunction to the one that we approved for level 2 a few months ago. So it's actually quite important that we support this project. And my community wholeheartedly supports it because inclusionary zoning is at 80%. And that's what we're writing the letter to bring down. And this is already at the 50%. These homes will be attainable for my residents if they choose to purchase them. And Habitat does amazing work. And they not just build the homes in the community, they stay connected to the community. Like literally, I can't really explain it, but their residents, they keep in contact. They make sure that they're okay in the communities that they're living in, because Ivy City is a little bit challenged, you know. So to have a developer care more about the residents than making a profit is quite important to me, and it's important to the residents also, and they all said that they're in support of the project.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or discussion from the Commission? Commissioner Henderson.
Yes, first, Mr. Velez and Commissioner Lewis, I really appreciate the project. Habitat for Humanity, you all do some amazing work. And the fact that you come to us with a project that it actually reflects 50% of the AMI is just really, it's a gift, and I thank you. My one concern is this whole contentious issue, and that's one of the problems with the zoning rewrite, is that there's a push to get people out of their cars and to divest people of their cars. That's the wrong position that the city should be taking. And conversations continue throughout every neighborhood, because as people change their family status, as they age in place, you know, you will find that you just can't walk everywhere, you just can't take metro everywhere, and you may need a car. So with that, have you discussed the possibility of getting any parking on the site?
You can answer,
Yes.
and then I want to make a comment afterwards.
We did look at getting parking on the site, however, DDOT will not issue any more curb cuts on Central Place.
Okay.
There are no curb cuts in those two properties. In addition to that, there's no alley that runs through, behind each of the properties. Behind the property.
But there's nothing that prevents you from requesting a variance, right?
For getting
The
a curb cut.
Mhm.
Or they won't be
They
approved.
won't
They
be
had
approved.
too many curb cuts already. And because the law has already passed, or it will be in effect in September, I don't think it's fair for us not to grant it to them early. Their project will not be finished before September. So it's like, if we say no, if they were to come September 2nd, it would be better, right?
Thank you, Commissioners. Any other questions or discussion from Commissioners? Any questions from the audience? Ms. Doherty.
Question, so make sure I understand correctly, each one of those individuals will have 2 units or 2 condos inside? And when do you expect construction to start?
Well, we need to get through BZA in April, and we wouldn't start construction probably until the fall.
And what's important, because this project is directly tied to the level 2 project, they will both be delivered at the same time. Level 2 cannot occupy its space with tenants until this project is done. So it seems as if it's a separate project, but it's one big project.
Commissioner, is that through the PUD that's?
Yes, it is. It's like they're trying to secure the
Commissioner
housing.
Lee?
And so, do you already have the residents or the homeowners? Is that been decided? Do you know who they are?
We don't.
We have a combination of the DHCD lottery for permanent affordability, and then we have a long list of approved Habitat homeowners, and Pettigay knows many of them, who are already approved by our board of directors.
We have about 28 families that have been approved and already started working on their sweat equity, meaning volunteering in the community, working on current builds, doing literacy workshop, financial workshops. But as Susan mentioned, 7 of the units actually have to go through the IZ lottery system. So we can't, once they come through the IZ lottery system through DHCD, then they get sent to Habitat. And then we review their finances and make sure that they qualify to purchase and are within the budget.
So does that necessarily mean they won't come from Ward 5 or from the ANC or Ivy City?
We are going to make an effort to first canvass the neighborhood, to look for residents, look for renters within the neighborhood, and we've been successful at that before. We've actually had 2 renters from Ivy City purchase and stay within Ivy City. So we've had some success in that.
On that same street.
Yeah.
What
Good,
is it?
yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah. But we are gonna make a push first, although for fair housing, we can't only target, and we can't just accept applications from one neighborhood. we have to make sure that it's broad and fair to everyone. That's the point.
And if we remember, the big push that we requested from level 2 was that the homes were built in Ivy City versus just allowing residents. So that was our initial big push. We wanted it in the single member district, and they're delivering that portion.
To that point, I remember there was an initial like priority group within 5D, right, and there were additional ones within the ward. How much does this put a dent in that initial
It
priority?
makes a
5D?
huge
Yeah.
dent. We're doing
Yeah.
12 of the 13
Right.
required in this exact SMD.
Very
And
good.
this is 2 of those.
So
12.
it will be a majority of,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
actually be a
99%.
majority of them
Yes.
coming from,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
2 or 4 of those 12.
This is all 12 of
This
the
is all-
13 that
all-
are required.
Well, this certainly is a feel-good project. Commissioner Lewis, was there any discussion among your residents about the impact on parking?
Actually, they're just supportive of the project. It's like when you talk to my residents, if they feel as if you're going to bring a project that they can afford and they can stay, they're going to support it. You know, like there was no one who said, no, we don't want this. And then my residents actually have a relationship with Habitat because they walk through our neighborhood.
Right.
You know, so they trust Habitat.
Parking, I think, is the only concern, but overall, I think you all have done an amazing job. And it's really an exceptional project. So I guess I'll have to get over, the parking issue.
Any other questions from the commission?
So can you just remind us again what we're voting on?
The 2 variances, we're requesting the support from the Advisory Neighborhood Commission for the 2 variances from BZA, one for lot width requirement to go from 18 to 15, and then the other one for parking.
So the houses will be longer, not wider.
But larger overall than our previous, and also larger than the market rate units, much larger.
And you're achieving inclusionary zoning at AM, 50% AMI.
50%, yes.
Okay. I'm on board.
All right, with that,
Commissioner?
so with that, I think we're gonna close discussion. I think what we should do, Commissioner Lewis, I would suggest that we move these as 2 separate motions, just so that we are totally kosher with our BZA letter.
Okay.
So if you would, launch your motion.
I motion that we support the variance for 1814 Central Place for the lot width requirement.
Second.
With your friendly amendment, I think you also wanted parking, is that right?
Yes, and off-street parking requirement. I did not see that part.
So the motion has been moved and we have moved and seconded to support the zoning variances for the lot width requirement and the off-street parking requirements for 1814 Central Place. If there are no questions, seeing none, if all 4 of the motions say yes,
Yes.
all against say no, any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0, congratulations. And Commissioner, would you like to do the
Yes.
same thing for 1833?
I motion that we support the variance for 1833 Central Place Northeast for variance for the lot width requirements and also off-street parking requirement.
Second.
What was that?
1833.
Alright, so we have moved and properly seconded to support the zoning variances around lot width requirement and off-street parking for 1833 Central Place Northeast. If there is no questions, seeing none, all 4 of the motions say yes.
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 All against say no. Any abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
Again, we are still on time. So with that, we are going to move to our administrative action items, and we're going to start with the treasurer's report.